Mr. Romanet, please, I would like to ask you, you explain, the people is watching now this interview, what is happening here with this Congress of ICRAV and why it's so important for the whole racing industry.
It's very important because as a federation we have two main priorities. These priorities are first the integrity of racing. We must guarantee a level playing field for all the stakeholders around the world, and at the same time we must do our best for the welfare of the horse. So these two objectives are in the hands of all our technicians, and we have during this week in Montevideo all the best representatives of the veterinary profession and all the top class racing head of labs around the world. So it is for us very important to listen to them, but also to guide them and to tell them what are the priorities of the racing authorities around the world through the IFHA policy.
Do you feel there's a compromise of mostly of the jockey clubs or racetrack around the world about that?
I think it's not a problem of compromise. We have priorities and everybody must subscribe to these priorities. Then some countries have the financial resources and the technical capability of having labs that can test everything around the world and can be very competitive. And my personal feeling is that the integrity of racing is at a much higher level than the integrity of athletic competitions for human beings, because we've been investing a lot of money. If you take, for example, the French labs, we invest 10 million euros a year to keep the labs, to have the right equipment, and it is very important. And so that's a priority where you cannot compromise on the integrity of racing. But it's very clear that we want to have labs at the top level all around the world, in each continent, and clearly South America is an important continent with racing and breeding at the highest level, for which we need to improve the testing, to harmonize the rules of racing. So here it's not compromise, it's harmonization for which we are looking. And that's why I came here this week, and on Monday and Tuesday I will express what we think should happen in order to have in each continent around the world a lab that would be certified by FHA, and at the same time all the best practice, all the guidelines we need for having the best possible welfare for horses.
Apart from this topic, very important, of course, which are the major concerns around the whole racing industry nowadays?
There is a lot of concern around the world. One of them is competition with sports betting. Sports betting is developing around the world and is taking a share. The global amount which is bet around the world is increasing, but the share of racing is decreasing within the global progression. So that's very important for us, and we must find the way to promote racing with the young generation. We must renew our clientele. We have, I think, a lot of stakeholders around the world that are breeders, owners, trainers, jockeys, and we have the top quality, I think. And Uruguay is a country who has been showing over the last 10 years how you can grow back your industry, because everything was bankrupt, destroyed, and with the modernization of MAROñAS, now Uruguay is in part one. The success has been achieved. We have ICRAV in Montevideo. So I think it shows clearly that if you do the right investment, the right politic, then you can develop your activity, you can increase the number of thoroughbreds. It means employment at the same time, and it's an agricultural activity. So I think it's very important for the economy of a country. So I think we must absolutely have the revenue, and we have the one of the problems we are facing as well is illegal baiting around the world. If you look at South America, South America is a very important continent in means of number of births, number of thoroughbreds, number of racers. But when you look at betting, the figures are minimal. The figures you're talking, while in France we have a total betting of about 10 billion euros. Here it's 250 million euros in Argentina or in Brazil. So I think there is a problem of developing the betting in South America, because it's not possible that there is not a bigger turnover, which means that there is illegal betting. And it's also a big challenge in Asia. Asia, there is a lot of competition between illegal and legal betting. And for all the governments, they must absolutely support the racing authorities and the racing clubs in their fight against illegal betting, because the money that goes out of the official betting operators is not going with a share to the government, is not going with a share to the racing industry, it's going with a share to people who are laundering money. So that must be one of our priorities as well.
Bringing the people to the racetrack is a priority, or we can fight with the technology that allow the people to stay at his house and bet by phone, by the internet?
It's a good question. I think we can develop the attraction of our racecourses around the world. For example, right now we are modernizing Longchamp. Tokyo has been modernized, Hong Kong has been modernized, Ascot has been modernized, all the top racing, Maronias has been renovated. I think it's very important. We are competing in the leisure business. We are competing against attraction parks for young generations. So if we cannot offer on the race courses what the people, the families need, then we will not renew our clientele. I was a month ago in Seoul, in Korea, and I found out that they are built a park, an attraction park for young people in the middle of the race course. All the middle of the race course is dedicated now to young people, and it's becoming very popular. It has just been opened. I think it is very important that we can offer on a race course everything to the family, possibility to watch, to bet, to see horses, to be close to the horses, to have also high quality television, high definition. I think we have a potential to develop, but it's difficult because we are competing in a leisure business which is very competitive, because the young generation, they want to be proactive. They prefer to ride horses than to watch horses. But we can combine that. In France, we have created a racing channel that is both racing and equestrian, where we show all the big jumping events. So that could be one of the way, but it is a difficult challenge.
Yes, yes. You already told about Uruguay and the great development we got since 2003, but I would like to know your opinion about the South American industry nowadays.
I think South America has a potential to be a leading continent around the world, with one reserve, which is the betting, which is not big enough. But the quality of the racing, of the breeding, is at the top. But there is one condition if South America wants to be back at the top where it has been in the past, it's to have a no medication situation. I think we must eradicate medication and drugs all around the world. And what happened this year in Brazil with the Grand Premio Latinoamericano, where the winner and the fifth horse tested in France were positive for steroids, and then the horse was disqualified for the race, but was not suspended and could win another Group 1 a month later, is a very bad sign for the industry. So I think, really, I'm absolutely convinced that all the top racing organizers in South America must get together, must be united in order to fight against medication and drugs. I think that we must guarantee a level playing field if we want to guarantee the integrity, and I think this week we're going to discuss it, and I'm absolutely convinced that from our discussion will come some challenge for the future in order to have all the top racers, the horses that would have been participating, analyzed in a certified lab by IFHA. But I think it is an absolute priority to guarantee the integrity of racing and to eradicate medication and drugs all around the world.
In the last part of this interview, I just want to say thank you on behalf of all who are racing in Uruguay, because you always were there to support Uruguay, and I think it was very important for our promotion to get now 12 stake in the first part of the Blue Book of FIFA.
And if I've done it, it's because I believe Uruguay has been doing what they had to do. It was a big challenge for Uruguay to get this promotion. Also for all South America, because some other races in other countries have been downgraded at the same time. So I think OSAF, Uruguay are doing the right job. And I think the more united you will be, the better it will be. But I'm sure Uruguay has given a good example. That's why I've always supported you.
Do you think we can get or dream with another stake in the first part of the Blue Book in the near future?
If you have the quality of horses, you will get it.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.